I recently got myself a set of acrylic paints, and about 17 of my friends told me I need to do a painting of Nancy Drew. So I'm going to try to do a painting of the first Nancy Drew book. Here's my canvas. I've got the sketch all done out. It's going to be like a zoomed in version of the cover. So I've never done acrylic painting before. This is going to be a fun experiment for me. I'm told that you need to do the backgrounds first. So it looks like the background is just dark blue, maybe a little bit of light blue and some black, and it was clearly drawn with a brush going from left to right. Whereas the other part of the background, it looks like it's just dark green going from left to right. Maybe some black pieces going up and down, although those are very similar to the trees. And that's sort of what I've got here. I've kind of drawn a big tree on the far right. And there's Nancy's shoe. She actually doesn't have a shoe here in the original. That's covered up by a tree. And I'm giving myself a little tree over here, which is not exactly where the tree is located in the original painting, but I want to draw cool trees in my picture, okay? So here we are. This is what it looks like with the backgrounds. The sky blue was not as dark as I thought it would be, so I tried mixing in more black with the dark greens, and that turned out fantastic. I'm really proud of how that ended up. Over here on the left, I kind of ran out of black, so it's not as fantastic over here on the left, but it looks really good over here on the right. And now I just need to wait for this to dry overnight before I start painting another layer. Next, I'm going to try to paint Nancy's skin, and there's a problem because it turns out I don't have flesh colors. You'll notice Nancy only has two colors, though. It's her light skin, and then there's the slightly darker area. There's not a whole lot of shading going on in the original picture. So I'm going to try mixing these three together, and hopefully that will kind of make the Nancy flesh color. We'll see. Oh my gosh, and I'm just noticing just now, Nancy's second hand, I didn't even account for the fact that she has two hands. Oh gosh. Well, that'll be a fun thing to figure out. Okay, so maybe it wasn't the greatest color mixture ever. We'll just say Nancy went to the tanning salon before this. So it's actually pretty simple when you're just filling in one area, just one complete shade with no tones whatsoever. It's just make sure everything is evenly layered. And so with the darker things, I tried doing a little zigzag motion here to make it less heavy. I think it worked out pretty well. And I had trouble along the lines, right? Because the lines would get mixed up with the oils, because the oils don't fully cover lines. I tried to make sure the lines stay here up at the top, so I'll know where the eyes are, and I'll be able to draw them. Compare this to her watch. You can't even tell where her watch is. I think this is the area where her watch is, but I completely covered that over, so I'm not exactly sure how sketching works when it comes to oil painting now. So the one eye turned out great, the other eye did not. I'm just gonna paint over this as soon as the paint dries. That's the good thing about using paints. I get to try again. So I touched up the eyes with this brush, the really, really tiny brush, which is used for fine details. Apparently that's what I should have done all along, because that worked out really, really well. I redid the color of the face, and her dress looks so fantastic, I kind of don't want to add shading on it. The original one has more shading on her dress than on her arms or legs, which is strange to me. So here's something I noticed was, see this line? You see this little darkish line here? So that's just the pencil, my original pencil sketch. I'm a little upset that my pencil sketch is like bled through the actual painting. I suppose that means I need to just sketch really, really softly from here on out. So lesson learned. Another thing that kind of bugs me is all the sources say, oh, you need to draw over your lines like this, and nobody will notice. I'm like, yeah, you can kind of tell that I had to paint over that to make her sleeve. So not a huge fan of that. Over here on this side, though, it was fantastic. You can barely tell that I painted over stuff. You know, I was painting over the background. Cool. So, looks good. Looks like all I have to do is the clock and her hair and the tree, and then I'll be all done. Okay, here it is. Here's the final version of the painting. I'm kind of debating whether or not to add an angry tree on the left. Could use an angry tree right there, but I don't really want to jinx it. I don't want to, you know, mess up the painting by playing around with it too much. Oh my gosh, so turns out I can't write numbers. I really cannot write numbers. So those are just suggestions of numbers there. So all in all, I think it turned out really fantastic for my first acrylics painting. Does it look exactly like the book? No, but it's still a good painting, and I'm kind of proud of it.